Greetings, folks. Okay, ordered a case for the Gibson. Now, my buddy Matt is wanting to purchase his first Gibson, so I kind of wanted to do this video for him and anyone else that this video may help. So, dude, Mr. Matt, when you get your Les Paul and you have it for a while and maybe your house gets humidity's crazy or temperature changes drastically a lot, you might get some setup issues happening. So I want to give you the specs of what Gibson sets these guitars at right from the factory. That way you have a good baseline. Now for people that may not know, what Gibson sets these up at is what would please most players. So you could have your action a little bit lower or a little bit higher than what they suggest. Your neck relief, you could have a bit straighter of a neck or a bit more curved of a neck. So let's get into this here. Okay. For your fat E, the big E, the action height, Gibson sets it at 5/64 of an inch at the 12th fret. Right there. So in the guitar world, it's easiest if you measure things in 64ths of an inch versus millimeters. So get you an action gauge. Order you an action gauge from like Music Nomad or StuMac. Place it right here at the 12th fret, right under your string. You're going to measure the distance between the top of the fret and the bottom of the string. It should be 5/64ths on the big E. The little E is 3/64ths. So you're going to have a bit lower action here than you will here. Lead playing, rhythm playing. So you got a little bit higher of an action for minimal buzz, closer action for ease of play. Their guitars come shipped with 10 46 gauge strings. What else can we do? Neck relief. Their neck relief specs are 12 thousandths of an inch. Mine, I have it 10 thousandths. I like a bit straighter of a neck because, dude, you know how I play. So to check your neck relief, to see what kind of neck relief you have, you'll hold it here. Sorry, I've been sick. Put you a capo right here at the first fret. And then come down here to the 17th fret and fret it. Hold it down right there on the low E. And then come up here at the 8th fret and tap. And see how much clearance you have between the bottom of the string and the top of the fret. See how much of a gap there is there. If the gap is big, like you got a lot of a gap, you need to take off your truss rod cover and tighten your neck. If you have no gap and the string is touching the fret, you need to loosen your truss rod. You can use a feeler gauge if you want to, like a mechanic's feeler gauge. 12 thousandths of an inch is what Gibson sets them at. But you can cheat it down to 10 as long as your fret works good, which most Gibsons will be. Or if you don't have that, if you don't have feeler gauges, for anybody else out here that might not have all that, the thickness of a business card is sufficient to get you proper neck relief. Alright. Pickup height. I'm not 100% on this. All they really say is 1/8 of an inch from your string. So that it's low enough that when you fret up here, you're not going to touch your pickup and cause buzzing and weird sounds to happen. And then the stop bar is adjustable. All these are different. Your neck angle here is what determines where this sits. And I'll get down here. You can see mine. See how it's a little bit lower on the treble side down here? Right here? Than it is up here at the bass side? These are all different on every Les Paul. The most important thing that you'll want to look for is right here at the back of your bridge, right here. Your strings should not touch the back of your bridge. If they're slammed down on this, you're not getting a fixed point here. String's gonna move. It could move, or it could cause tuning issues. The way you check this, get you a sheet of notebook paper and see if you can slide it up under each of these. There's no spec here. Gibson doesn't have a spec for this because all the necks, when they put the neck on the guitar, they're hand fitted. So they'll put it in there, chisel a bit here and a bit down here, and get the neck where they think it fits properly and then glue it to it, you know? You know what I mean? So they're all different because they're all done by hand. And then the fret action, first fret action right here, can be checked with a feeler gauge, or hold your strings down at the 3rd fret and tap right back here to see how much bounce you got. You got no bounce, your nut's cut too low. You might have to get a new one. That's very rare, except for maybe, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years of playing, changing strings a lot. It's gonna whittle those nut slots down. But that's about it, you know. But just remember the specs: 12 thousandths neck relief, 5/64ths on the big E, 3/64ths on the little E at the 12th fret. And then you'll be golden to get, you know, if something happens to where, oh man, my guitar doesn't play great anymore, it's defretting, the action has slammed down or something. The neck will usually cause that if your neck straightens too much. Because it has lost moisture, it causes the neck to swell. That will cause your action to slam down to the frets. Loosen your truss rod off. If you pick it up one day and it's like, dude, my action's crazy high, don't go cranking on your thumb wheels here, you know, to lower this, because the bridge really affects your action here. Because the truss rod isn't really active past like this point. So if it's crazy high up here in the middle of the neck, just tighten your truss rod a little bit. When you're adjusting that truss rod, do quarter turns, maybe even 1/8 of a turn, just little by little, until you get it feeling like you want it. And what else can we say here? Oh yeah, Matt's wanting to get the Les Paul Classic. It's the same as this, with binding and different pickups. They're like the 61 buckers or something like that in the Classics, and the push pulls. You know, I have a push pull for my volume pots, but the Classic has all of these as push pull. This does not have that. I think these are like a out of phase kind of sound, like the Greenie mod that Kirk Hammett's Les Paul Standard has in it, I believe. But yeah, man, as long as you follow what Gibson says, you can get your guitar back into factory spec if need be. Now, like I said, the 5/64s action here and 3/64 here, that is what they believe pleases most players. You can go lower. Don't slam it down because you're going to defret like crazy, but you can go to maybe 2 here, 2 or 1 here, and maybe 4 or 3 right here. See how it feels. If you don't like that, bring her back up. Your neck, you can have more relief than 12 thousandths. You can go to 15 if you want, or you can go to 10. I wouldn't advise doing dead straight neck unless you have a really light touch on your strings, because you're gonna buzz all over the place. No doubt about it. But it's really, you know, that's there's no rules, it's just guidelines kind of thing. And real quick here, I'll get you out the tools. Hold on, let's do this here. Let's do this here. If I can get this freaking thing to open. Come on, Zipper, quit making that duck sound. Okay, now I use a capo. This is for neck relief checking. I have truss rod gauges right here from Music Nomad. I don't use these. I have a set of mechanics feeler gauges that I bought at a hardware store, and I find the 10,000.010. That's the one I use. For 12, it will be 0.012. And then here is a nut height feeler gauge set that can determine if your nut slots are cut too deep or they're cut too shallow, and what you might need to do to correct that. And then we have this. This is the good thing right here. Action gauge from Music Nomad. There's your 64/7" right there on the bottom. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 64s right there. That's what you'll need. Here's your, I think, millimeters. Then right there's your pickup height. It's hard to get it to focus because the letters are so small. But those right there, that's about the main tools you're going to need to perform any setup that you might need to do on your Les Paul, minus the Les Paul truss rod adjustment wrench that comes with your guitar. I got a bunch of other crap in here too. Here's a fret rocker. This will tell you if you have a high fret somewhere. You set this on your frets and see if it rocks like this. If it's rocking like that, it's sitting on a high fret, and it's going to go that way and this way, because that fret that it's sitting on is higher than the others. And then this is for tightening up screws, like the poker chip piece right here. This is what me and my dad should have used. Forgot I had it. Before we put this horrible scratch in it. You can't see it, but if the light hits it right, you can. Here's a ruler. I don't ever use this. It's never been out of the thing. Here's a bunch of wrenches, fret files to do fret work, and then whatever those things are. I have no idea. But yeah, dude, these tools right here are really good for all your setup needs. For any Gibson guitar, Fender guitar, whatever. Fret rocker's nice to have too. Get you one of those. Just in case you get a fret that might be popping loose. Because sometimes frets can work themselves loose. And you'll think, oh man, my guitar needs fret work, but it's not really that. It's the fact that one of these frets has popped itself loose and is no longer seated down in here. And the best thing to do with that is to get you a rubber mallet and a cloth. Put over your fret and just give it a slight tap. Just slight tapping and knock it back down in there. Now let's talk about fret buzz now, so that you can understand what might cause fret buzz. If your strings are buzzing when you hit them open, or you're playing your first position chords, your neck is backbowed. The neck is too straight. You need to loosen the truss rod. If you get defretting this down here in your higher frets, everything's great up in the lower register, but you get down to the 7th to on down, the neck has an underbow to it, which means there's too much neck relief and the neck is actually pulling up here. And so you'll have to tighten the truss rod a little bit. Other fret buzz can be low action. If your action is too low, it can buzz, but if you can't hear it through the amp, who cares? And then worn out frets, which you shouldn't have that problem on a brand new guitar. After about 20 years of playing, you might need to have a refret done or do some leveling and polish and crown over time. Then there's one other buzz that nobody really talks about much, and it has to do with your bridge. these saddles here can collapse over years of use. Where you can look at it right now, see. You can see, if I can get it up here where you can see it. The saddles are radiused to the appropriate height for each string. But as you put your palm on here over the years, you can actually push these lower than they need to be. And then you will get weird buzzing sounds that usually sounds like a sitar kind of sound. You'll hear this like reverberation of some sort of note after you've hit a note. And the way to fix that is you can replace the saddles individually or just replace the entire bridge itself. And is there anything else that can do fret buzz? I think that's about it. So that's really all I have for the setup stuff on this. And most people tend to like the Gibson factory specs. For my playing style, I like my neck to be a bit straighter than what they have it at. Because, I play fast a lot and I want a closer action. I do have the action set at Gibson spec right now. I like how that feels with the straighter neck. My pickup height, I haven't touched, really, since owning the guitar. So it's whatever they set it at from the factory. And I might have lowered this one just a hair. Just a hair. And don't lower it too much with these screws right here because it can cause the pickup to collapse into the body. And that kind of sucks. You have to pull the pickup out, put the springs back on it, and then get it back where it was. But I haven't really adjusted that much. And just a quick update for you guys. Since purchasing this 2022 Les Paul Studio on January 19th of 2023, I haven't had really any issue other than a little bit of fret buzz right here. I still have it now, but it's not enough that it affects anything when I'm playing through my amp. I did make a few adjustments on the neck, and it had moved a little bit, so I got it back to 12 thousandths, and then I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to push it to 10. I'm going to put it on 10. So I put it to 10 thousandths of an inch, and it actually made it play better, and the defretness isn't anywhere near as bad. I don't know what that is. Maybe I have a fret working loose somewhere. Who knows? That's really the only thing I can complain about. I mean, and it's minute. There's been no, the guitar hasn't exploded. It hasn't shocked me. The neck hasn't broken. The headstock hasn't snapped off. Anything like that. The guitar has been absolutely amazing. And then me and my dad, we put the poker chip on. Because I don't know how you guys feel, but dude, Les Pauls have to have a poker chip. They don't look like a Les Paul without a poker chip on them. So we put this on, and we were tightening up this washer here. And of course, it slipped, and there's a scratch. Let me see if I can get it in the light. Let's see. Let me bring it out of the case. You have to look right on it. You can't even see it. Which, yeah, that's pretty good. It scratched it pretty good. I mean, the finish on this is a really thin finish. It's not very thick at all. So, there's one more thing I want to show you guys that I think every guitar player should invest in for their new Gibson guitar or any guitar. Gonna get a few products out here. One. Now watch me break everything I own over here. 2 and 3. And then 4. All right. Now, here's what we have. This is the Dunlap Guitar Care Kit. You have your Formula 65 polish. Use that religiously. That's the only polish I've ever used. Here we have string cleaner. So if your strings get all black and get oxidation all over them, wipe you some of this on them. Bring it right out. You get surface scratches on your pick guard or your body. this white paste here. Put you some on a rag and start buffing it. Then take another microfiber cloth. Do this all with microfiber cloths. You buff it with this, you wipe this into them, then you buff it out. And it will take away a lot of those surface scratches. And then here is our fretboard conditioner. Or fretboard cleaner and prep. This will get all the gunk off of your fretboard that builds up over time. Do not put it on a maple fretboard. Maple fretboards, you don't need to oil those. It will cause you, if you use lemon oil or something like this on it, it will cause your frets to lift out. Because it causes the wood to go, whoa, okay, and then all the wood contracts. So don't do that. Don't put this or lemon oil or anything on your maple guitars, your maple neck guitars, or not neck, maple fretboard guitars. And a roasted maple, the same thing applies. Do not clean a roasted maple fretboard with any sort of fretboard treatment, because you're gonna have a bad day. All right, so we have this or any cleaning product cleaning kit for your guitar that you desire. If you don't like the Dunlap stuff, you can get other stuff from like Music Nomad and things like that. A kit that Diodero makes one, Ernie Ball makes one. This is a Chinese one that I ordered off of eBay or Amazon. These tools, the action gauge, the nut slot gauges, and my truss rod gauges, all came from Music Nomad. Best stuff ever. So there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if it's informative, I'm glad I could help. If you already know this, then oh well, I guess. This is from my buddy Matt, so he kind of maintains the guitar a little bit and not be. He's never really done setups on guitars, and don't worry, dude. I never did either. I didn't even know, dude. Like back when I started playing guitar, I never knew you could adjust the action. I didn't know there was different string gauges. I didn't know you could adjust your neck or polish your frets or anything like that to make your guitar play better and feel better. I just thought the guitar was the guitar. So now, if you watch this video, dude, you have all you need to know to help you keep your new guitar in tip-top shape when you get your Les Paul Classic. And if you get an Ibanez or something like that, they have setup specs on their website. So you can check that out too. Thanks for watching, folks, and be good to each other out here, and keep it metal.